Good morning and welcome to Ed's World, where it's always morning, even in the afternoon. Don't you just love it when your audio files randomly switch programs and the thing starts to start up iTunes, which freezes up instead of going the normal route that it did? That's a bug we're going to have to be fixing here today, but it's going to be the last episode of Ed's World coming up here today, so we'll be worrying about it in a completely different show come next week. And I am joined today, of course, by Stephen Ignoramus, who you all know and recognize from his shows over there and from having been on our show a couple times before. How are we doing, Stephen?
Doing just lovely. How are you today?
I'm doing great, and I do want to thank you for taking the time and popping in and catching up because the guest that was supposed to be over here dropped out at the last minute this morning. But you get to be here and send me off here at the very last episode of Ed's World.
Oh,
So
I'm honored. I'm just pleased and honored.
I do want to thank you for that. And before we get into anything else on here, I want to take a second and just say a final goodbye to my audience because you guys have been absolutely awesome throughout this entire year and a half experiment that I've had. And I do hope that you'll come by and share this next chapter in my podcasting life with me as we start the Red and Ed show coming up on the 6th. So thank you everybody for making Ed's World awesome. And thanks everybody for coming by. Thanks for keeping me honest as we went and staying with me as I transition between going to solo videos to pre-recorded podcasts to now having the live stream every Monday night at 5:30 Central. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming and checking us out, and we hope to see you coming up next week. But as we're moving along here, we do have a pretty packed show today, and it would have been a great show for the last show, no matter what we had here. So it looks like the Chaz has come to an end. So all hails and all huzzahs out to those in the Chaz as they go along
F
here.
in the chat.
F in the chat for
Chaz.
Chaz.
Yeah, as they say, yeah.
But the violence has started up in my neck of the woods over here as Madison has erupted into a new bevy and hotbed of political strife, and we'll talk a bit about how that started and the video of the arrest that really started it all and kicked it all off. We'll talk all about that here. The news coverage has started to die down on the protests, but we'll talk about what's still going on around the country. And the left has decided that they're going to target Mount Rushmore. We'll talk a bit about what's happening there. COVID has come back into the news here. We'll talk a bit about what the numbers look like, the number of cases versus the number of deaths, the new talk of the lockdowns, and Joe Biden's executive order on mandatory masks. We'll talk all about that. 2020 is back in the news with a new crop of news out there to try and make people panic for the years to come here. Polls are now showing that Trump is down almost double digits across the board to Joe Biden. We'll talk a bit about that. The president himself came to Wisconsin in a bid to grab my state's vote back for this coming election, so we'll talk a bit about that. The Strzok notes came out between Obama and Biden with the Flint case. We'll grab that. The police reform bills have been coming along, and the House has passed a D.C. statehood. So we'll talk a bit about what that means, why that could happen, why that couldn't happen, and what that means for people living over in D.C. The Senate has confirmed its 200th federal judge. We'll talk a bit about that. And the Supreme Court came down and ruled in favor of expedited deportations. However, the Ninth Circuit stepped in and said they are going to block the military funding for the wall. Finally, NASCAR has released its photo of the noose. The Dixie Chicks have turned themselves into a 90s punk band, and Jenna Marbles, a person who's largely responsible for my coming into the internet presence, has quit YouTube. We'll talk all about that. It's going to be all of this and more over on Ed's World. Come and check us out over on the Freedom Scoop Media Group, where you can find great creators like the person over to the left of your screen there, also the Generational Gap, the R-rated conservative, the Freckles and Brit Show, and Wyatt Birkenhoff. Come and check us out over there and check out some of the swag that we've got over there. We are available and streaming live on YouTube, DLive, Twitch, Periscope, and Facebook. And if you're in Facebook, head on over to the links above you there so you can come and get in the live chat. We'd love to see you there. And if you can't catch us now, you can catch us on the go. We're available on demand over on YouTube and over on BitChute.com. Or you can catch us on the audio platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. Remember, if you're over on iTunes, leave us that 5-star rating and a good review. That always helps us move up the charts. So, after the lengthy introduction here, it's time to find out about the final guest here. So, Stephen, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Yo, all right. Yeah, first of all, it's good to be on the show. I'm actually pretty excited for this one. It was last second, and you're like, oh, thanks for doing me a favor. I'm like, this is actually going to be pretty fun. So it's the last one. But yeah, I'm a musician living in DC, music teacher. I stream almost every day. I try to stream at least 20 hours a week. So that's kind of my secondary job, but I just do music. I'm kind of you could call maybe it's a little bit cringy, but like a truther. I'm a conspiracy guy and stuff like that. But yeah, I just try to I live in DC, so I've gone down to a few of these rallies or protests or whatever you call them. But I just try to stream, grow my channel, and one day, have a family and a homestead or something like that. So that's what I do.
Well, and you have been a very large presence on the alternative media as a whole, and just you've been a great presence for the Freedom Scoop Media Group as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into this lifestyle?
Well, I mean, I just a longtime fan of streams and a longtime fan of podcasts and all that good stuff. And I kind of just worked my way through the YouTube podcaster realm to where I am now. I don't know. I don't like labels all that much, but at this point, I definitely am comfortable saying I'm right wing. So most of the things that I listen to now are like kind of right wing stuff, or maybe even what you might call what the mainstream would call far right. No, I don't mind that, but I just started doing streams January 3rd last year, almost every day, like I said. And I don't know, it's been a grind, since a really fun grind since then, but just interest. I have a lot of different interests, different topics. Probably the topic that I dislike the most is politics, which is very interesting. I kind of hate government, even though I talk about it every single day. It's still interesting, but just kind of interest in what you might call philosophy or not, truth.
Man, I have way too many tabs open here because we are lagging you down.
Yeah.
I can see that over there on your
Oh,
side.
really? Oh,
Mine
well,
seems to be going smooth. It just seems to be the Zoom connection that's coming in.
I'll just move faster. It'll make up for it.
Well, we'll knock a few of these out of here, and then I think that'll speed everything up as we go along. But let's go and check in with the live chat here and see what we've got going out here. Looks like you're in the live chat here over on the YouTube saying hola.
Yeah.
Unsatiable says,
people are here.
oh yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Unsatiable says, when will inflation catch up with all the stimulus money?
10 years ago.
Because they're either going to do another stimulus like they say they are going, it's going to devalue the currency at a crazier rate. Yeah, it's already pretty worthless as we go along here.
My loose theory is that they're trying to convert some shit.
Yeah.
They're trying to convert it to like either one world currency or like some kind of like insurance scam or something where the math doesn't add up like badly,
Yamafego comes in, says, who's the guy with the hat? He should show feet. Almost there.
You don't get it. you don't get that.
Unsatiable says, since taxation is theft, would the military be privatized? Yes.
God willing.
Facepalmer says, howdy. Saint says, good evening, bitches. And Unsatiable
Facepalmer.
says, I want to buy a wife. And that's going to be it for
my
now.
wife so much. Just quick. I know it's not on the itinerary, but did you see Sacha Baron Cohen singing at the right? They called it a right wing militia rally, but it was kind of a bunch of good old boys. Did you see that?
I talked about it this morning. Yeah, absolutely.
Flu. Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I actually read it on air too. So
I'm about to definitely gonna learn that song. That'd be a good one to play.
That's awesome. Anyway. All right. With that, we will catch up with the live chat again after the first topic here, after talking about the riots here. So let's get started. And we're going to start today just with a brief snippet from the Seattle Times. I said from the Seattle Times. Come on here. There we go. This computer's slow. It's doing way more than it's ever been designed to do. Just a brief paragraph here. Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkan said Monday that the Seattle Police Department will be returning to its abandoned East Precinct building peacefully and in the near future, following a weekend in which 3 people were shot at the edges of the protest area that had emerged around the building. Durkan said the city would attempt to phase down nighttime activity in the Capitol Hill organized protest area, known as the CHOP or earlier as Chaz, but would not be using police to clear the zone. I'd love to see how she plans to do that without the police. Rather, Durkan said, they'd ask people to leave the area voluntarily at night, offering resources for homeless people and working with community groups to try and cajole people to leave the area where dozens of tents have sprouted up in recent weeks, along with couches, guerrilla gardens, and graffiti. So I take it that you never got out there to go and explore this yourself.
F for that as well. I really wanted to. I almost tried to crowdfund it, but it was just I just done the trip with you guys, and I should have, but
Yeah.
I've actually missed 3 or 4 opportunities like that, and I need to stop. But it's still Seattle, but I would have loved to gone out there. Would have been great if I didn't get shot.
If you didn't get shot, that's
Yeah,
that's
if I
the
didn't get
operative
shot.
right there.
Yeah. That's the Raz Simone. You hear Raz Simone said that he was a pimp.
No, but it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, he said he admitted to being a pimp in his past life, but not like that though. Direct quote.
But not that kind of pimp. Just a pimp,
It's
not that
yeah,
kind.
but not that kind though. That was his direct quote.
Uh, I don't know. I mean, somebody in the live chat this morning pointed out that he's seen small countries with one person and a dictator last longer than the CHOP did.
Yeah, it was a complete joke from day one. Especially, it would have been cooler if it was actually autonomous, but it was propped up by the mayor. They were getting government assistant. It's just that wasn't a Chaz. I mean, Chop was a more real name.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was never gonna do anything. If that's gonna happen for real, it's never gonna happen in a city unless the whole city secedes.
Well, not even the whole city seceding either. And one of the things that I pointed out on my shows before is the fact that they actually probably could have done it if they hadn't been landlocked. Like if they'd taken a port or something
Yeah,
where they could trade with the
something where they
outside
could
world.
leave. Yeah, it's just so dumb. It was just everything about it was so dumb and larpy.
But what about their garden?
It was a terrible garden. It
Ugh.
was an awful garden. Yeah, it was terrible. And just the type of people that these things attract are just not good people. It's not all the people are there, but it really does. My eyes. I've never been to CHOP. I've only been to the protests in 2 cities. But my eyes were completely open after being down there. Like really, really, really scummy, bad people are down there. And DC's relatively clean.
Yeah.
Like it's not San Francisco. It's not New York. So I can only imagine the type of people that are in CHOP. Ugh.
You mean there's not poop in the streets everywhere where you live? Actually, I
Some
can attest to
streets.
that I've been there.
I mean, there's things under. There's like stuff under the bridge. There's tent cities and stuff like that. But I've yet to see. Oh no, I've seen a lady pissing in the street. There was this one time where I was just walking by with someone, and you hear this lady go, "Oh my god!" She just starts pissing. She has her dress like up, and she's bent over, just pissing into like an open, like a a concrete area in front of a store. Like no, no. Anyway, but you see, there's the poop map in San Fran, and it's not good.
Oh, I hear the thunder out there. Let's hope that we stay alive here. That's one of the things I've been worried about. Because it got pretty bad here a little bit ago. So, fingers crossed that we're going to stay alive here. So, with going back onto the CHOP here, now Durkin has come out and said that they're not going to use police to do this. So, do you
What
think this volunteer thing...
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What do you do without cops?
We asked them
I don't
nicely.
get it. Yeah. Didn't they already fail?
Yes,
Wasn't
they
there
did.
yeah, they failed once. Yeah. I don't know, but the whole thing is so dumb. But I like it. I like anything regarding secession. I'm into it. So we'll see.
Well, you have to be, like you said earlier, you have to be autonomous if you're going to secede. You actually have to have the
Yes.
resources and the capability to do so, including get resources in from a country other than the one you seceded from, because I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be some bad blood at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
and it appears, and I read another article this morning, that they are getting ready to wind things down, but instead of just releasing the entire zone, the protesters have holed up in the East Precinct. So they're not ready to give that back up yet until they get their mysterious list of demands met. You like that one, I see.
The LARP is so strong. I mean, these demands. I mean, they'll just make more, so you shouldn't give in to them. And if it's like what's it called? The Joker scene, or it's like, what if I finally caught it? He's like, what if the dog finally caught it? Like the dog doesn't know what to do when it catches the rabbit, in the track or whatever. So I don't know. I think that the whole worldview of these protesters is fueled by like malcontention. I don't know if that's the right word, but they just can't be content with anything. So
No.
you just ask and step. So it's just have fun.
Well, it's just like a toddler throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
If they know they can get away with it, they're going to do it again.
Yeah. So,
That's why I'm glad I got hit when I was a
all
kid.
turns. Yeah. Oppose it at all turns is what I say. So if Durkin wants to be Durkin, she can Durkin, you know. Like she, I don't know.
Well, I know Evers wants to be Evers over here back in my neck of the woods because in the city of Madison, we've seen some fairly violent and nasty protests going on over here. For the most part, it seems that they stem from this one event, which I've got the video of here. So let's have a look at what actually transpired that may have started all of this here. Let's get that.
Is it the one that starts with like the crosswalk, like the state walk, like it has the crosswalk sign?
No.
Beginning? Okay, no.
No,
okay,
this is even better. You're going to cringe at this, especially I know your religious views on top of this. I could call this surprise cringe if I wanted to and get away with it.
Okay.
All right, but let's have a listen to what this sounds like.
Jesus was not a white man with blonde hair, blue eyes, and pink lips. His name was Horus. He was stolen and plagiarized from ancient Egypt and still carved in the pyramids till today. Now Jesus, good ship Jesus, was the first boat that came across the Atlantic Ocean that brought the first slaves to America, sent by Queen Elizabeth. That's what Jesus was. Jesus was used to justify murder, rape, pedophilia, human trafficking, murder.
20
Hundreds of guys died a civil war over niggas. Who gonna control the niggas? They had a whole civil war on who was gonna control the niggas. Fuck the police department. They know what time it is. You know what motherfucking time it is. My name is Joshua Musa, and I am fucking disturbing the shit out of that restaurant. And I got a fucking bat. Thank you, guys. I love your shirt.
So that gentleman got arrested,
Good.
obviously, but that seems to be
Good.
what sparked everything. That sparked all of this and got us.
Whoa, so the protesters are protesting that the white dude or that guy?
That guy getting arrested is what they're protesting in right now.
Oh my god, dude!
It was police brutality because he walked into a bar, and I've been in that bar, by the way.
I can't believe these people, man. Jagger, I had no idea about the story until you sent me this document. I didn't even look into it. I can't believe these people. They're protesting him getting arrested.
Yeah.
Oh
and pulling down Union war statues over it.
Wow, man. These people are nuts, dude. That's not a good guy.
It's Horus, and he was stolen from the Egyptians.
I mean, if true, present your evidence, man. You know, so I'm just, no one is claiming Jesus had blonde hair. No, not even the people that depicted Jesus with blonde hair made that claim. You know, dang, dude, that blew my mind at the end when he was like, "Thank you, I like your shirt." Yeah, and it's like, dude, I don't know, man. I could go on all day about that video, but it's just, you know, a human justifying a human doing something in your name does not make it a part of your doctrine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can do all kinds of things in all kinds of people's name. I mean, look, everyone's doing this shit in George Floyd's name right now.
Right.
Do you think George Floyd's down? It's the same thing where he's like pedophilia, murder, rape. It's like, dude, all I have to say is like, I'm doing this because of J. Edgar. You know, that's all I have to do something in your name, and that makes it nothing to do with you. I'm like, oh, I'm committing this crime. I'm stealing this lollipop in the name of J. Edgar. And the person's like, bastard, this person has had theft done in his name for centuries. And so I just that argument is so gay about Jesus, man. But yeah, but I don't know. Thank you. I like your shirt. Wow, man.
And I got a motherfucking bat. That was the one that got
Yikes.
me. Uh,
He says these. Oh, I did say these people. I don't mean black people. I mean those people, and a lot. Some of them happen to be black. Honestly, a ton of them happen to be white. These people I'm talking about, a ton of them are white.
yeah. Oh, in Madison, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if this was Milwaukee, and once again, this is a little bit of a local thing for me because I know these areas very well. If it was Milwaukee, it would be probably a different demographic. But in Madison, oh yeah, a ton of these people are white.
Yeah.
I just want to read here briefly from Fox News. The violence began after a group of 200 to 300 protesters marched through downtown Madison, initially blocking intersections and obstructing driveways. Madison Police Department said in an incident report the situation escalated when the group reached state capitol grounds. Statues of Lady Forward, which is an equality statue, and Colonel Hans Christian Hegg, who was a Union, I believe, colonel who was a strict abolitionist for his entire life, who fought and died during the Civil War on the Union side, were torn down and removed them from the grounds. Both statues were later recovered, a city official told the Wisconsin State Journal, noting the protesters had removed the leg of Hegg.
He was a Heg leg.
Apparently. It was a legless Hegg.
He's a Heg leg. Yeah. Man, it's just crazy because I don't know. I don't. The vast majority of people I hear talking about this in media or in conversation is it goes to the place of who the person was and whether they should or should not have come down. Like, it's crazy. You know, they're doing Union soldiers. You know, they're doing World War II memorials. But I'm like, dude, no type of business is supposed to be done this way. Even if it was a freaking pro-Hitler statue, it's not supposed to be done in this way. You know, even like, you know, it's not the argument. So you say, like, if someone's backs that they're pro vigilantism, and it doesn't matter for what reason. It's almost the same thing with like a restriction on freedom. They're like, oh, with COVID, you know, why are 90 people allowed and not 10? Like, both are wrong. Like, get past the reasoning part of it. Like, it's vigilantism is wrong. So it's just weird that's the debate. That's always the debate. If you turn on a stream or like Fox or CNN or whatever, it's like, who deserves it, who doesn't. But it's like none of it should be allowed.
Well, the charges have come down for this particular gentleman who claimed his name was Joshua in the video. From WBAY, federal prosecutors on Friday charged a black man whose arrest triggered a violent protest in Wisconsin's capital city with extorting local businesses. Police arrested 28-year-old Devonair Johnson in Madison on Tuesday after he walked into a Cooper's Tavern near the state capitol building with a megaphone and a bat. The arrest sparked a protest later that night that saw demonstrators tear down two statues outside the Capitol building and assault State Rep Tim Carpenter. I didn't even put that on the list here, but yeah, that happened too. Tim Carpenter on the Capitol lawn. Johnson faces up to 40 years in prison if convicted on 2 counts of extortion. Online court records do not list the case or an attorney for Johnson as of late Friday afternoon. So, yeah, he's in some pretty big trouble. But that was the other thing I didn't even mention on there. I believe it was the same day that it was the day after this happened. A bunch of protesters came together and assaulted a progressive state senator, a gay progressive state senator, on the Capitol lawn because he was trying to take a picture of what was going on with his cell phone.
Not woke enough.
Apparently not.
Yep. Nope.
Because he actually came out and he made a public statement saying, "I'm on your side. Why are you guys doing this to me?"
I saw the video. They're like, he's like, get the fucking phone. Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not. But I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's happening now that they're not talking about. Because this is no longer fashionable. Now we have to go talk about COVID again. Which I don't... Go ahead.
No, it's fine. I was just saying, it's just funny how what I was wondering about these things is, like, do they know?
Yes, the damage extended
they got
far
a gay,
beyond
black, transvestite, midget, disabled guy. Like, how many of those did they know? That's what I always wonder about. Like, when they went up to him, did they know he was a law officer, and I mean a elected official, or the other boxes that were checked, or was he just a guy with the camera?
He was just a guy with a camera.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, there's definitely some anti-camera vibes going on. It scares me.
Yeah, coming from you who walk around with a camera in your hand over on one of the most divisive cities in the country right now.
Straight mocking them under my breath. I'm just walking around like they're like no justice, and I'll be like no beef, and I'll say I can't read. Like, so I'm like, but what was going on is that I laughed and smiled a ton,
Yeah.
So after I got shot with the rubber bullet, I started laughing. And these two ladies behind me were like, "Why the fuck are you laughing, white boy?" And I'm like, "I got shot." They're like, from that moment forward, the only reason I wore a bandana is so I can like laugh under my breath, and like snicker with the live chat. Like I wouldn't be wearing a mask down there, but there's definitely, the later it gets, the more it gets like anti-media, anti-proof, anti-camera. You can feel it happening from like 8:45 to 10. And then, that Daily Caller reporter and camera person got assaulted. I don't know if you heard about that in D.C.
I heard about Posobiec. I didn't hear about the Daily Caller guy.
No, that was a couple days before. Yeah, Posobiec was he didn't get assaulted as bad as this guy got sucker punched.
No, I didn't see that one.
This camera guy, or this guy with either a reporter or whatever. Anyway, but my point is that there's just some serious anti-camera vibe the later you get there.
I gotta ask, with everything that you've had going on down there, and I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out it's a lot more secure in a city like Washington D.C. But have they done anything to damage any of the infrastructure, especially like the emergency infrastructure down there? And the reason I ask that does have to relate with the story as we're talking about here.
Like in D.C., like, are you asking about D.C.?
Yeah.
I mean, what do you mean by, you mean like subways? You mean like travel infrastructure and stuff?
No, emergency infrastructure. What happened
like
up here?
Ambulances and hospitals?
What happened up here was they actually firebombed the city county building, which shut down 911 services for Dane County.
No, I had no idea about that, man. Dude, this Wisconsin shit is not like, when I go through my news tabs in the morning, I'm looking at most of the big stories. I have not even heard about this shit until today, man.
Yeah.
But no, I know they don't. I saw them burning cars, but I've not seen them mess up a single thing, a single like police cruiser or anything, but they fucked up a lot of buildings.
Yeah.
Like a lot of businesses, actually.
Yeah, we had no 911, or not we, because I'm like 50 miles away from Madison, but in Madison, Dane County, they had no 911 for like 3 days.
Yo, man, you gotta go stream from there. You should go, man. It's really good. It's really good for everything. Your channel, for you. Like, you should go stream. I would watch.
I need to.
It's one person. You should, dude. That's a golden opportunity, dude.
I will consider that and figure out how to work it around my schedule. I don't have as loose of a schedule as you do, unfortunately. So
yeah, I'm blessed.
Yeah, you are blessed indeed.
Yes. Hashtag blessed. All right.
All right. But yeah, that's they took out the city county building. That's been restored at this point. But yeah,
that is insane. Was it bad? Like, was it like a big firebomb or what?
Looks like it was a Molotov, and the building stayed standing, but it had to be evacuated. And yeah, they damaged the infrastructure that went along with the 911 service. So yeah, I mean, this was pretty intense from everything that I saw out of it. And I don't know, nobody's talking about it. Like you said, you hadn't heard about it at all until today. And
crazy, man.
I know Poole was talking about it, and I think Styx hit it one time, but
that's nuts, man. Richmond too. They've had standoffs for like a week straight in Richmond over this Robert E. Lee statue. No one knows. Nuts. Do you think this is? Do you think this is like a civil war?
We don't know what a civil war is going to look like.
Yeah.
I will send you an article that I wrote back in 2013 about the upcoming civil war. And I want you to look over that, maybe read it on the air if you want to, but I just want you to look over that. And because this was back when Obama and Romney were going at it, or just shortly after that. And a lot of the things that I predicted are coming along today. We're seeing a lot of it right now. And it scares the shit out of me that I was able to come up with this in 2013. But that's what I have on that here. We've got one more here that I want to touch on that is going on the riots and the riot train here, and that is out of South Dakota. I want to read here from Cowboy State Daily, which is an awesome name for a publication, by the way. South Dakota Governor to leftists, don't even try to mess with Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem has received a lot of national exposure this year for refusing to close her state down due to the coronavirus pandemic, and now she's in the news for speaking up about the riots which have occurred across the U.S. Speaking on Fox News on Wednesday about the destruction and toppling of statues across the country, Noem said any attempt to desecrate Mount Rushmore will be met with a strong pushback. This is no longer about equality, Noem told Fox and Friends on Wednesday. This is a radical rewriting of our history in South Dakota. We won't stand for it. So I know that this story made kind of big headlines when Shapiro talked about it, and that's what brought it into the mainstream. Otherwise, this would have been a local story like Madison here. But what have you seen on this one so far?
I mean, I haven't seen much, but I've heard about her a couple times, and good on this based governor. The other day in my chat, we've done a couple thought experiments. One of them was best woman of color politician that you would vote for, and the other one was just any good female politician, like actually objectively good. I mean, I can barely name a good man politician, but definitely less female. And she was the only one that anyone could think of, like that was like actually good. And I was like, okay, tight, you know. But I really like her a lot. I mean, I'm just like, to me, this is. Ron just said in the chat he doesn't consider this a civil war, it's civil unrest. I completely agree, but I definitely view this as a culture war. And if you people that oppose the shit and are strong, that's great. So good on that lady. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, she's done great off of this, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really into older chicks, but she's hot as fuck. On top of it,
she looks like, how dare you? How dare you? These are our leaders.
She can pull this off and still look that hot. That's amazing. That is amazing to me. Absolutely is. Said,
sir.
How dare I what? You know how I go.
Everyone knows.
Yeah.
I just posted on 4chan.
So that's what I have on that. If you don't have anything else,
there's not. I mean, look. It's pretty easy for me on the culture war stuff. I just think that you should oppose these people everywhere, and like, of course, it goes without saying Mount Rushmore. I mean, I don't even like the people on Mount Rushmore that much. I don't. I'm like defending people that I don't even like that much. But it's like, come on, man. Artisans made this shit. Like, what I've been saying a lot on my show is like this statue. Whoever you take the worst person depicted ever, but it's still a sculpted statue, and you're replacing it with feces, blunt smoke, and graffiti. It's ridiculous. Like a sculptor made that statue, so it's not even about like history. I don't give a fuck if it's like a donut. You know, so like that's my stance on a donut.
Mm-hmm.
Think about what I think about Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm like, if it's something like government, like you should be able to shoot those people. The government should, you know. And I can't believe I'm saying that, but like, dude, you're going after a mountain that isn't it on like an old Indian reservation? Wasn't it like bought from the Native Americans? Everything was the Native American. Yeah, everything was either bought or, you know, like, so what are you doing? If you're trying to go after, what are you going to replace it with? Like MLK, Karl Marx, and like Trotsky, and you know what? Like, I'm like, what the fuck? So that's like Mount Rushmore. Like, so good. I'm a friend to anyone that wants to, you know, not destroy art and like culture. You know, so good on this lady. I'd vote for her.
All right. Well, we're going to hit the live chat here real quick and see what we've got going on. Looks like you guys have already been busy over there, so we're probably going to have to go on to the highlighted comments and questions only phase, unfortunately. Sorry for everybody else in there, but let's see what we've got here. Jake from Freedom Scoop asked you to show feet. Unsatiable asks, when will China usurp the global hegemony?
I don't think it will. I don't think it's going to be a global hegemony. I think it's going to be one world government or like nationalism. Or feudalism, even smaller level. It could just all fracture. But I don't think China's going to like take over.
I think I'm missing a few people's... oh, no, there it is. I was going to say, I saw that Yamo said hello to Sully, but I didn't see him in there. But I see him back there. Saint says, what do you guys mean I can't live off hope and dreams?
I don't know, sir. You're not qualified.
Unsatiable says, when will you violate the NAP?
stuff with like if people are going after kids,
Yeah.
and if they're just and if like, yeah, I mean, yeah, because like if a kid consents at age 10, you know that's consent, like from the literal word. But dude, what the someone needs to step in to protect that.
Hmm.
But in other situations like that, but that's about it.
Insatiable says, "Have you taken the political compass test?" I
Yeah,
did live
me
on
or
the
you?
generational
Oh,
gap.
yeah.
What about you?
Have you done it? I've done it twice. I did it last year and this year.
I have not done it the second time. I know I should at this point, but I have not so far.
Yeah, I'm a middle center right libertarian.
I'm very comfortable in that lower right-hand corner.
Yeah, not middle, not center, but like extreme right,
Hmm.
middle. You know, 3/4 of the way down, all the way to the right.
Let's see. Saint says 1619 Project on steroids. Saint had another one here that I wanted to highlight here. I actually saw an ad sign today that said, "Don't California my Wisconsin."
Hmm.
I want to know where that is because I want to see it. Let's see. You have been called out by Yamafago. People are following me on Instagram now. I blame you, Steven. How dare you?
You deserve it.
Unsatiable says, Thomas Paine was a proponent of UBI. Are you? No.
No.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
Okay.
Ron says, a black
Some
guy
Coke.
walks into a bar and lets everyone know he has a bat. Bats was he?
A black guy walks into a bar and does more pull-ups than me.
Unsatiable says, thoughts on the JQ?
It's complicated.
I guess I don't know
I'll
what that
talk
is.
about it on my show. That's the Jewish question.
Oh,
But I would talk about it on my show. But it's complicated.
yeah. I don't know enough about it to opine. I apologize. Sabri says, I haven't heard anything about my state because nobody cares about Maine. Aren't there like 10 people in Maine?
Maine's tight. Maine is super underrated.
It is.
Yeah.
I actually used to live with a guy from Maine, and it is super underrated.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have any more questions here? Harvey McLeod is here. Welcome on in, Harvey. Welcome to the last show. Changing our history, the steps towards collapse. I like that. Should we put BLM in camps?
No camps.
No?
No camps. Fuck the government. If you wanna secede and then go to war with another person that secede and put them in camps, go right ahead. But no using the government to put anyone in camps.
Sibri says U.S. breaks up into states rather than one country. Interesting. Sparta says UBI now. Sibri says fuck UBI. And then Sibri answered my question, 1.3 million in Maine.
So you're a few off. Dude, you won by, what's it called? A Price is Right rules. You were the closest without going over.
I like that.
you won, dude.
All right. We are going to circle back and check in with the live chat here. But before we get into our next set of news stories here, I wanted to just point out the rise in the COVID cases. So I'm reading here just from the Google front page here, which I'm not going to put this up on the screen because it'll actually dox me if I do, because of the way that Google's screen is written up here. But Wisconsin has confirmed 25,068 cases. The United States passed 2 million cases here. We are confirmed at 2.63 million, which in the last 24 hours was up 40,691. Confirmed worldwide, 10.2 million, 190,000. So it looks like, yes, we are getting up in an improved number of cases, but interesting to point out, I've pointed it out, I've heard other pundits point it out as well, is the mainstreams are not talking about the deaths this time through. They're just talking about the cases. What's your take on that?
They'll do whatever suits them. They'll do whatever suits them. So if it's whatever's working in their favor, in their narrative's favor, they'll just do. So the deaths aren't really working in their favor. I mean, I don't think the tests are working in their favor either. But they're saying, I mean, no one's saying anything about their favor explicitly, of course, because they want you to think that they're just telling you the truth or whatever. But I don't really believe in this virus, yo. I mean, I don't really believe it's what they say it is. So I just look at the whole thing as just lie, game of chess, lie, lie versus truth, almost good versus evil on this one. So, they're just going to do, the corporate media is definitely the enemy of the people, like definitely. So they're just going to do whatever they can. So in this case, they're capitalizing on the cases.
Mm-hmm.
But most normies will say that's a lot of cases, but they are testing more, and also their tests are fucked up, dude. I've looked into their tests a lot on my show, and they don't really test. You don't test for the virus. That's the first thing that you test for the antibodies, but also they do these things where they test for like all coronaviruses, a few different ones, and it's all kablooey with like they say you're asymptomatic, they say you're not, they say the whole thing is a shitstorm. So they're I am like, maybe I'm a dumb redneck. I'm not a redneck. I'm kind of a suburbs boy, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, I don't trust you. I'm doing my own thing. That's so any like detail here, I'm just like, you're fucking lying. You've been lying my whole life. I don't trust you. This is the biggest like government bullshit takeover ever. So if the deaths worked in their favor, they would use them. That's what I think.
I am a dumb redneck, so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, no, I'm just like, I'm ignorant. I'm just like, I'm ignorant other than I know you're lying. So I'm going to check out. I've been like this probably since like March 18th. I've been like, I don't believe you. I'm sitting this one out in terms of believing and trying to make sense. None of this makes sense at all. So I don't try to make sense of it when it gets to this level. So they're full of shit. If the deaths benefited them, they would use them. They would talk about them.
Oh,
whatever
absolutely.
Whatever they talk about is going to be what benefits them.
Oh, absolutely. And you sit there and even if you try and talk about Trump over on Twitter, there's always going to be some progressive leftist that finds your post because he's searching out anything that says Trump in it, and he'll jump in your comments and say 120,000 people couldn't be reached for comment.
Dude, it's so cringe, man.
Yeah.
They have no idea. The person saying that doesn't give a fuck about those people. It's like the social media, like, I don't know, like exhibit A of that quote, like one death is a tragedy, a million deaths is a statistic.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like, oh, this one fucking number, like, so like it's so terrible. It's it's anti-human. Just like, oh, this one number is good, so I'm gonna jerk myself off with it. You're like, no, dude. I don't know, but Twitter's cancer. It breeds cancer.
It
like
does.
Well, quick question. What do you think? Okay, you have to pick. Which one's the most cancerous? Like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's it, right? Like that's the big three.
Twitter. Easily.
Okay. I think Facebook because of the character limit. The no character limit, I should say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but Facebook's been vacated by most of the people our age at this point. I mean, we're streaming over there right now, but for the most part, it's been vacated.
Yeah.
Looks like we have some closures here. I want to read quick from CNN. Texas and Florida bar owners closing their doors for a second time fear crushing impacts. Looks like we hit there just right at the nick of time, didn't we?
Yeah, dude. Nuts.
And our Irish friend can no longer go drink in a bar. The Houston bars Scott Repass co-owns have been open about 3 weeks before the governor shut down their business again in response to a surge in the new coronavirus cases. In the short time they were open, Repass says staff followed safety guidelines to a T. They required customers to wear masks when moving around. They offered hand sanitizer at the door. Bartenders and servers wore masks. Nobody congregated and almost nobody used cash, but that proved to not be enough. So I read this article earlier this morning, and I'm going to do a little bit more of an abbreviated form of this. It looks like they did a lot of contact tracing down in Texas, and they started pointing everybody back to the same bars over and over again. So Abbott came down and said, fuck it, we're shutting it all down.
Damn, man. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
And DeSantis did essentially the same thing over in Florida, checking the cases. But once again, we're not seeing the deaths like we were seeing before.
I don't believe you. I just don't. I'm just like, that like Anchorman meme where he's like, we're on air right now. I don't believe you. Like, I'm just like, I don't believe you. It's like, I don't know. I think that it's one of the reasons that they abandoned the protest narrative, like the Trump protest. They're going to go back to it though.
Mm-hmm.
If this virus were like really contagious, or if it just were what they said it was, you would see examples of actual people from the George Floyd protests getting sick, or at least getting the virus. You've not seen a single article about that, about a protester getting the virus.
Mm-hmm.
This is the biggest concentration of people that have been in an area since the virus happened. Okay. And you would hear articles and people are like, no, there was a spike in that state. it's irrelevant. Did the actual protest give me one protester that got actually sick? And you can't. I should be sick. I should have the virus. Like, it makes no sense that this is what they say it is. But if they're gonna lock it back down, go ahead. But not go ahead. I mean, I'm trying to move to a red state. That's what I want to do. But even there, you're not safe because it's only a few red states, right?
Well, speaking of things that aren't protests, that obviously aren't spreading things here, I've got another video here that I wanted to show everybody that I grabbed from, I think it was, who the hell did it? It's OT, whatever the hell that is over on Twitter. I grabbed the Twitter video. I'd have to close down the tweet so we could see who did it, but I just wanted to show you what's going on over here. In Chicago, they have a large pride parade going on, and nobody's afraid of the COVID because apparently it doesn't hit leftists, so there's not a lot of sound to this. But yeah, we can look over. This is the Chicago Pride Parade that we're looking at here. This is, they're definitely not 6 feet apart. I don't know if anybody else caught that or not, but there's definitely not social distance. I don't see a lot of masks there. I can see a few assless chaps here and there, but
nice.
All kinds of butt stuff.
Ugh.
Butt stuff, butt stuff, butt stuff. Yeah. And yet nobody's afraid of the disease. So apparently it's not just race riots that the disease is afraid of. Apparently it's butt stuff too. Yeah, I like that one. Trump Pence hashtag out now over there. I see that one.
It's scared of a different kind of virus.
Ah. Oh. And he went there.
Yeah, it's scared of a different kind. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, look, this whole thing is a fucking sham. At least it skipped. At least like we're almost. I mean, it missed most of Pride Month. I saw one in Chicago and one in Taiwan. Mm-hmm. And I'm just very glad about that. I've heard some rumor that they're going to ask for a makeup month. Did you hear about this?
No.
Yeah, they're trying to get a mulligan or just like a makeup month. Yeah, they're trying to have Pride later in the year.
No, you don't get that shit.
You don't get that shit. I want my June back then.
Well, and I remember too before COVID happened. Well, before it took off, when it was still just being talked about in the early corners. That was when I first talked to you about going down to Florida and taking you with me. And you said, dude, I'm down because I want to get out of D.C. for all the Pride shit. We didn't know that the protests and COVID were going to take the place.
Right. You're totally right. Yeah. I mean, it's the worst month, man. It's the worst month in a city. It's terrible. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm just glad they didn't get to do it.
How big of you, or how bigoted of you?
Extremely.
Extremely. And I don't know where this is going to end. My state is not locking down, but Evers kind of got his nuts chopped too by the Supreme Court in my state. So
the Wisconsin Supreme Court or the federal?
The Wisconsin Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Because we have a provision against tyranny in our Constitution, and the Republican lawmakers sued Evers' administration. They took it up to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and they looked at the Constitution, the state Constitution, and said, "Thou shalt not." So I don't know what he's got going on, what he's got planned, but I know that he's got other things going on in his mind too at this point, considering the capital city is burning around him currently. So I don't know if we're going to lock back down again.
Yeah, it's just so crazy, man. They have so much power. They shouldn't be allowed to do any of this.
I don't know. But I'm going to keep it moving along here because I know that you've got a hard out coming up here. So we're going to go check in with the live chat here. We're going to do a quick abbreviated version of 2020. Let's see what they've got to say here, though. Let's get back to where we were. Wow, you guys are really busy today.
Yeah, we got a good chat tonight. What up, y'all?
Where did we leave off? The UBI question. Sparta says ban usury, remove all welfare, and replace with UBI. Well, no, they can't do that because that doesn't favor one demographic. You have to keep in mind.
Just freedom.
Yeah.
Just freedom. None of that. You should have none of that.
Ron Helton says the states were intended to be autonomous.
Yes.
Harvey says...
Your identity, prior to the Civil War, your identity as American was way more wrapped up in your state than the country.
Sibri says if everyone gets UPI, wouldn't that make money worth less? They try to sell it as not, but yeah.
Everything free devalues... anything free devalues everything. That anything that's free is devalued.
Harvey says, didn't Wisconsin just open up completely? Yes. Yes, it did. We have certain businesses still that come out and say, yes, you're not allowed to. Like, I can't go and sit down and eat in the McDonald's in Janesville. That's a Rock County thing. Which, okay, there you go. That's as much dox as you're going to get. Yes, people, I live in Rock County. Anyway, yeah, in a Rock County, it's a Rock County thing. So,
Full address posted on 4chan.
hey, there actually is somebody that's been on the show that has that. Actually, I think you do too, because I think you were talking about coming up here at some point. But let's see. Peabody Nick says, I'm Jewish. Is that okay? I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Harvey says, how are they doing? I'm not sure what you're questioning about on that one. Let's see. More questions. We got to find more questions. Because unfortunately, we've got a hard out here, and I can't really do the whole live chat like I used to. Welcome in, Aviation Arms. Let's see. Sparta says, I love Facebook stock. I buy and sell it all the time. I like that. Kiss fans are boomer juggalos. That's awesome. Well, you guys are going all good on Social Security. I like that. Firebomb BLM says Unsatiable 1776. Disavow, unfortunately. Jogging is the cure, Stephen.
I've heard that.
Yeah, the host is agreeing with us. Let's see.
We agree
Peabody
on-
Nick says, is this Jewish?
I was just like, LOL to that. I'm like, what do you mean, is this? Dude, that's like one of the hardest words to define.
Yeah. I said, I told you when we hung out, I'm a little bit of a Judophile myself, but I am definitely not Jewish myself. I just like their women. All right, we're going to go check in for more questions here after the next topic here, but we got to talk a little bit about 2020 and what's going on there. So first off, I want to read from CNBC here about the polling that we see coming here. From Tech, Trump wraps up Facebook ad spend as Biden pulls ahead in polls from Salvador Rodriguez. President Trump has ramped up his re-election campaign's Facebook ad spending after falling behind presumptive Democratic nominee Joe Biden in numerous nationwide polls. The Trump campaign's Facebook ad spend hit more than 2.2 million between June 21st and June 27th. According to Facebook's ad library, that's a big step up from the 1.26 million spent between June 14th and 20th and the 1.48 million spent the week before that. By comparison, the Biden campaign spent a little more than $1.5 million from June 21st to 27th. Now, I read from that because of the ad buy there, but if we look across the polls right now, the Fox News poll showed 12 points behind. Most of your aggregates are showing 9 to 11 points behind. But we also saw a 100% chance of Hillary Clinton becoming the president in 2016. What are you taking on the polls coming away from this right now?
I don't know. I'm a little bit conflicted. I mean, I've been looking into. My starting point is polls are bullshit. They barely ask anybody. Sometimes, often they turn out to be right in the long run, but it's just I just think they're bullshit because they always ask like 2,000 or less people, and if you could do an aggregate, that's just pockets of 2,000 people from different places. So I think they're kind of bullshit. Other than what the media can do with them, and also what the Trump campaign's media can do with them as well. It's not just that. You got to remember, there's not just like private media or like, there's also the media of every campaign. They have like a press person, they have press releases, all that shit. So they can use it for stuff or whatever. But I mostly think it's bullshit. I have definitely like empathy or like putting myself in other people's shoes, issues about this whole thing. I could not imagine supporting Biden. I mean, I'm not really a Trump supporter. I honestly am probably going to vote for Trump to say I did in 50 years. It's not going to do anything. I live in DC. I'm mostly a libertarian. It's for the lulls, kind of, so I'll probably will vote for Trump just to like in 50 years, like, yeah, I voted for Trump once. I didn't vote for him the first time. I wish I would have voted for Trump the first time just to say I voted for him in that election, just because. But I think the polls are bullshit, but it's all just about the electoral college, man. That's the system that we're in. So I don't know. I just stay like one of my goals about my show over the last, what I've tried to move towards is less hearsay stuff and less statistics and studies. because these are all a little bit of bullshit because it's selective. They select their variables. They select what to show people. They select who's involved in it. And most of these polls, dude, they're done like a lot of them are on landlines, man.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck has a landline? Mostly older people.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I just don't. It's kind of just like the coronavirus. Like there's gaps in every step of the story. So I'm just like, your poll is retarded. Your system is bullshit. It's on sand. So I mean, I also think Trump is in a weaker position than he was.
Oh, absolutely.
But also I think Biden's worse than Hillary Clinton.
Do you think, and I pointed this out just kind of conspiratorially on my show this morning, do you think it's possible that Biden is running to be a complacency
like a heel,
inspiration?
to have him, to make him lose, you mean?
No,
What do you mean by that?
I'm thinking like to inspire complacency in Trump voters. Like, we don't have to get the fuck out there. I mean, look at this fucking idiot.
When I think of that too, I just have empathy issues. I have no idea why someone would not vote in this election unless you're opposed to voting, unless you think voting's immoral. But I don't know why a single Trump voter is not going to come out.
Well, I'm not voting for president in this election. I'm only doing down ballots at this point.
But that's essentially a Trump vote. I mean, I'm sorry, that's definitely a non-Biden vote.
Yeah.
So I just can't imagine like your Trump people not voting. I can't imagine. I don't know. There's so many different people. So it's like on that day in November, what are you doing as well? And there's also absentee, but I just can't imagine people. I can't imagine people staying home, but they do,
They do. They don't care for some point. And like I say, the other part of it is, oh, well, it's Biden. Nobody's going to vote for this guy. We got this in the bag. I'm just going to watch the Prices Right instead.
I lost my student council vote when I was a sophomore in high school that way. I was like the most popular person. And I was the president the year before. And then people were like, he's a shoo-in. They didn't vote for me. And I didn't get it. And it crushed me, dude. It was traumatic. I was crushed for like a week. And I'm so embarrassed that I was that crushed by that stupid high school bullshit. But it is true. There is a complacency vote. Yeah.
So let's talk about this police reform bill here. So, reading here from CBS News, House passes wide-ranging Democrat police reform bill. The House approved police reform bill proposed by Democrats on Thursday night after Senate Democrats blocked a more modest proposal from moving forward in the Senate a day before. The bill passed with a vote of 236 to 181, with 3 Republicans, Representatives Brian Fitzpatrick, Will Hurd, and Fred Upton, joining Democrats to vote in favor. So we had a bill that came forward from Tim Scott that was basically giving the carrot to several states to reform their policing from within, more in line with the Constitution and the Supremacy Clause, of course, sticking with the constitutionality and federalism. And the Democrats made sure that this didn't even come down to a debate. They wouldn't even hear any of this at any point. And now the House has come out and said, we're just going to pass ours because we think ours is better. I've not read the House's version. I've read the Senate version. I've not read the House's version. But what have you seen on this?
Well, I mean, it's the whole qualified immunity thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I'm a little bit uninformed on this one because I'm uninformed, but also I can see both sides. Like I can kind of see the argument for, being able to have civil suits against cops. I see the side for not being able to do that as well. I mean, me and you have talked about impeachment before, where I'm not a fan of impeachment because I think you should just be able to charge the dude with a crime. Mm-hmm. And I know I get the counter argument, but my decision is I just think that everyone should be able to be charged with a crime, period. But that's not a civil thing. I mean, if it's a private suit, you should be able to do it. But this is like a civil public suit,
right?
So I don't know. I don't really know. At a certain point, I do appeal to authority a little bit on this one. And by authority, I mean Rand Paul and Thomas Massey, who are the only Congress people that I like at all. So if Thomas Massey and Rand Paul back something, I'm most of the time, if I don't know about it, I'm basically gonna be like, I'm with you on that, because especially Thomas Massey, and I think he's one of the people that opposed it. So with being uninformed and just shooting from the hip, I would say I'm not into it. I would side with just Thomas Massey because he's like the only libertarian. So, but I mean, I don't know. I just, on one hand, you want government to, like, Congress to get stuff done and pass stuff. On the other hand, you really don't. If it's bad stuff, you want them to kind of stall. So what do you think about it?
Well, I look at this, and I thought it was just that the Senate Democrats wanted to come forward, especially going on to Tim Scott's bill, because, I mean, I thought black lives were supposed to matter in this, and that black opinions were supposed to matter on this. So going on to Massey's bill, or I'm sorry, Tim Scott's bill, I thought that it was just the fact that, well, they wanted to throw another bill in that was laden with pork. But then I started thinking about this, and then I started thinking about 2018 and realizing the fact that, no, this isn't going to be it. The House put up a bill that they knew wasn't going to go anywhere. The Senate put up a bill that actually had decent reform in it and a lot of reward to states and localities for putting through the police reforms that they wanted to see. But they want to run on this in November. They don't want any bill to pass right now.
It's a bone. Yeah.
It's like Kavanaugh all over again.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't like that. I get your pandering, like, bone throwing, low hanging fruit, fat shit out of here, man. Yeah, government's so bad.
Yeah,
it's just so terrible. Yeah. Oh, by the way, you know how earlier we talked about how we did the poll in my chat that was like, female person of color for office.
Yep.
The one that I settled on was tranny Tim Scott. That's the one I picked for best woman of color politician.
Nice.
The House on Friday approved landmark legislation.
The Hill started playing a video over there. Let's talk about your neck of the woods. So I'm going to read briefly from the Hill here. The House approves a statehood for D.C. in 232 to 180 vote. And the House on Friday approved landmark legislation, which is probably about, I think, the 10th time they've tried this, by the way, granting statehood to Washington, D.C. in a 232 to 180 vote. The vote was historic, marking the first time either chamber has passed legislation to elevate the district to the 51st state and empower its residents with long-sought voting representation within the halls of Congress. Have you heard anything about this so far?
Well, I mean, they do it all the time, man.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. It happens every time that the House is controlled by the Democrats. So it's always symbolic. They've never controlled all three, so they've never done it. I mean, I didn't think that's how you could become a state. I thought that you have to do it constitutionally.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're basically full of shit. I live in DC. Even if I lived in DC for the rest of my life, I don't back DC statehood. It's dumb. It's clearly to get Democratic votes under the guise of representation. Just absorb them into Maryland or Virginia. I've thought about this for a while because like all my old friends back DC statehood, and it's so dumb. And it's what's my thoughts on DC statehood is like it's just so convenient that you draw your line of liberty right where it benefits you.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Orange County not allowed to secede over to away or that's why I'm just pro secession because I'm pro DC statehood if it leaves, but I'm just pro liberty. So the giving DC statehood actually makes the country less free.
I listen to Styx Hexenhammer every morning, and he actually brought up a good point on this as well. First off, DC itself was never intended for people to live there.
Really?
Yeah, no, it was a federal district so they could keep their federal buildings on. But if DC itself had a state, or was a state, or even if Maryland were to absorb all of DC back up, and it would become just a part of Maryland again, that would mean that the federal government would be beholden to the state of Maryland. So the reason that they don't have representation is so that the federal government itself is not beholden to the whims of its host state. That's why it's a federal district. But, I mean, if these people want representation, then, I mean, everything that isn't a federal building at this point should be, and I totally agree with the guy on this, absorbed into Virginia or Maryland, depending on what's more politically expedient at the time.
There's so many ways around it to like give these people what their only argument is representation. They're like, oh, and they do the same way. I mean, I've been here for 10 years. They do it in the same way. They're like, you're the type that wants 750,000 to not have representation, you fucking bigot. And it's like, dude, like, no, I don't even like representation, dude. I would rather direct democracy than what we have right now. At least everyone weighs in on everything.
Yeah.
And this direct democracy crony shit is terrible. I mean, excuse me, this representative democracy crony shit is terrible. But yeah, they're just like, and the other day, I tried to find this thread on Instagram when we were doing the intro. I couldn't find it because it's too old. But they talked about DC statehood on this Instagram account called Washington DC Problems. It's like a huge account, and I always comment on it like right wing shit.
Yeah. I bet that goes over like a spacesuit.
Most of the time, I just walk away. I just don't never even check it again because I'm sure it's getting blown up, whatever. But I was like, having DC statehood would be a disaster for the country. And then the person commented like, why? So you can see a shrinking GOP be in charge with a white minority. I was like, dude, you don't know anything. Like, that's a failure in your reasoning. Mm-hmm. Like you're saying the only reason can be that, and it has to be the GOP. I hate the GOP. But yeah, I mean, people love that shit here, dude. So I teach kids music, and from time to time I'll talk to them about what they're doing in school. It'll be a quick 30-40 second conversation, and I'm telling you, I've had third and fourth graders doing mock practice debate about abolish the Senate and give DC statehood. I've had this conversation with my kid. They're learning how to say the Senate is bad at age like 9 in DC, and so that's the people that live here, and other liberals come from around the country, but it's like DC pipeline people that stay, and there's liberals from around the country that come, and that's mostly it. So they love this kind of stuff there. Anyway, so I just thought it was interesting.
Well, I mean, capitals in general are usually a liberal bastion, even in the reddest of red states.
Cities in general, yeah.
But capitals especially, because if you're going to go protest at your capital, you're going to want to live around the corner from where you're going to go protest. And these people grow up thinking...
Name me 3 right-wing cities. More than 100,000 people have to live there.
I would have to know more about demographics. I guess I can't do that off the top of my head.
Yeah. I've been challenging people to do it. A couple people told me like Sioux Falls, or Sioux City, I should say.
That I could see.
Yeah. But I like listeners out there and stuff too. Challenge you to name me 3 cities with more than 100,000 people that are like a red city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But capitals in general, I mean, I would consider, if you compare, and once again, this comes from a little bit of my local bias, if you compare Madison to Milwaukee, Milwaukee is like Richard Spencer level far right compared to Madison. That's how left Madison is.
Wow.
And Milwaukee is not a left-leaning city at all. But just to compare the two of them, if you make that comparison, just to compare the two of them together, it's like night and day difference between the two. And it's still a left-wing city. All right, I got a couple more here on this one here before we go into the last topic here. The next one I've got here, the Supreme Court, or the courts in general, the judiciary in general, Trump and McConnell have come together to confirm the 200th federal judge at this point, which means that right now there are no federal vacancies on any of the judiciary at all.
Might be the best thing Trump did, other than slow down like the decline of civilization.
Yeah, I could see that, and that's what they keep saying. Well, this is going to change this is going to change and shape the judiciary for generations, and most of these people are in their 40s and 50s. He's going to have a permanent hold on the judiciary for the rest of our lives. Good.
Yep. At least they're constitutionalists.
Mm-hmm.
At least they don't. I don't know. Probably they still will legislate from the bench a little bit, but at least they're constitutionalists. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a Republican, I'm not a GOP, but they're correct about more legal shit. They're more correct about the issue of freedom, about like freedom and morality. They're just more correct. So that's why I'm just like, good. If they're conservative constitutionalists and they're judges, great. Like liberals can be art teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever. There is a use for liberals in society. Like there is a.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just not. it's just not in the freedom department at this point. Like, or the freedom and morality are just, the liberals are so incorrect on that stuff. So it's just good until we.
And it's
balance
ironic
the
that they have liberal in their name and they're against
I
freedom at
know.
this point.
They're so anti-freedom. That it's just good. Until we balance this out, our culture out, it's just all good. The more right wing, the better.
All right, here, speaking of the courts and the judiciary, I've got a couple more from there at this point. First off, this was an interesting one to me. The Supreme Court has ruled in favor of expedited deportations, but only if they catch a person within a few miles of the wall, basically somebody who had just crossed the border. If the person has been in the U.S. for any extended period of time, he is still allotted his due process as per the Constitution. But if they catch anybody on our side of the wall that's a fresh crossing, then yes, you're going back. So
Yeah.
What do you think on this one?
Love it. I mean, I love it. I mean, what it really, what I believe it does, I'm not sure if you said it, but you said it this way, but they don't get their second hearing. Like, they get a first interview, and they get a first interview, and if they fail that, they're gone. And what they did before, they could appeal it to so no. What one of my first issues that I really got into when I got into streaming last year was immigration. It's one of the ones I've researched a ton. And the way it works, there's like 4 different policies that when they're stacked in order, or they're stacked in terms of the person, if they apply to the person, right? That it essentially makes a border jumper able to stay indefinitely because of asylum. And what those, I don't know if I can remember all 4, but it's the thing that they just did away with. It's these ACLU type legal organizations that provide them with legal support inside the country when they're not in the country. American Civil Liberties, so these aren't Americans, but anyway, so it's the port of entry. The port of entry thing is a myth. You don't have to go to a port of entry to be an asylum seeker. You can border jump and be an asylum seeker. And there's also like the family, like the, what's it called? Like the refugee, if they like qualify as a refugee. Those 4 things, when used in a row, make it so border jumpers can just stay basically indefinitely and skip their trial date. And it's terrible. I mean, it's just terrible. So I back this. I would back asylum if it was just, it had to be from a port of entry. And you had to prove you're a refugee, not like it. Being a refugee is not like gang warfare shit. You have to be like under persecution from your government. It's not a family feud. It's not poverty. It's not seeking a better life. That's economic migration. That's not what an asylum seeker is. So yes, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I don't mind like economic migration either, but I mean, you got to do it the right way.
Yeah, you got to do it the right way and at this scale. Like you can't do it at this scale. I mean, there's more than 1 million legal and illegal per year at this point. So even I'm not a fan of immigration. I'm not a detractor of immigration per se, but in this way, at this volume, we're like 30 years behind at this point, maybe more. So I get the people that are like shut it down for a decade or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one more here, speaking of the border and in our political analysis here, and that is the Ninth Circuit has come forward once again to save the day for the left because they have blocked the military funding, or the military reallocation would be a more accurate term, of the funding for the wall. The Ninth Circuit came together and convened after a lawsuit was filed to them and showed that it was indeed unconstitutional for the president to reallocate money that was allocated by Congress to build his border wall. Did you see this one today?
Yeah, I glanced at it, but I don't know that much about it. But just, that's the circuit that is, that's anti-Trump, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's judge shopping is what they did on that one, because they can go to the Ninth Circuit and reliably get an anti-GOP ruling. And this isn't even new. That's been something they've been doing for 30 years. It's just Trump has blown everything out of proportion with his Twitter feed, so now you see more of it.
Right. I mean, Trump just made millions of people lose their shit. Like maybe permanently.
Yeah, I can see that.
I was talking about that with LeBron James today. I was like, LeBron was driven insane by Donald Trump. He's a full race pimp now. He's like an MK Ultra mind controlled Hollywood race pimp now. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think Trump's going to build a wall. So, but I don't know if we need to. You know, I think that you can get it done with policy, with like policy that will be called Hitler-esque, but it isn't Hitler-esque. It is not Hitler-esque objectively, but I think you could get it done with policy. I mean, but you know, building a wall is a policy, you know, but so there, it's like you almost could, I don't remember what it's called, like the okey doke or whatever, where you're like, you know, but you almost could use the wall as the distraction at this point.
Yeah.
You just keep trying to get it through, and they keep shutting it down while you change the policy or just, you know, end the welfare state or end the drug war or whatever. But yeah, I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do. And, you know, he made such a big deal about it, you know, it's getting opposed.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to check the live chat here, and then we're going to hit a couple pieces of pop culture here. And I know, like you said, you had to be out of here at 8:10 your time. So
yeah, I got 25 minutes.
Let's go and check what we had going on to here. It looks like there's quite a bit at least. Wow, there's a lot. Let's see. I want UBI if you remove all of the welfare from Unsatiable here. Sibri is trying to dox me at this point. Rock County and 50 miles away from someplace got it. Sibri says UBI would also decrease the value of money. Let's see. Sibri says, added me and said 99.7 at the highest, I think, would have been probably the chances of Hillary winning, given the timestamp on that one. Ron says polls are election interference. Prove me wrong. You have anything on that one? No? No, it looks like you win that one now, Ron Helton. Sibri says, just vote for a random person to be president. How about your local Walmart worker? You know, when the Bernie lady texted me and asked me who I was going to be voted for, I said, because she has my first name and last name from the phone records. So I said, you know that YouTube guy, J. Edgar? I'm going to write him in. Because, of course, she had no idea knowing that it's me. I thought that was funny. Looks like Sparta says, chance with me, Trump, Trump, Trump. And then he says, Helton, Helton, Helton.
Helton.
Ron says, there's absolutely no reason to make D.C. a state. Bollocks.
Yep.
All right, now we got a question. Would you follow orders in the military even if those orders were wrong from Unsatiable 1776?
It's complicated. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do between just those two things.
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to a lot of podcasts and read a lot of books about what happens when that happens in the military. It depends on the situation and how bad and all that stuff. But there's also ways to, you know, trick your leadership while still following the chain of command.
And yeah, I mean, Ron came out with the perfect example
no.
too.
Yeah. And the quick answer is no, but like it doesn't. You know, there's a lot of stories about that from like World War II.
Right.
You know.
Ron said he resigned his commission over the Gulf War I. They lied about the war, warmongers.
Good on you, man.
Sparta says, Helton for president, Ed for vice, make me your master of war. And then he goes on into his Trump impression. I will build the greatest tunnel complex under the USA.
Greatest, tremendous.
Build a
tremendous
tunnel.
Well. Frankly, the best well.
Unsatiable asks, do you agree with Trump that burning a flag should be illegal?
No.
No, it's pretty much too. I mean, people died for the right to do that. So, I mean, it's not a religion. The state is not a religion as much as the left wants it to be. Let's see.
Harvey's, yeah, read that one.
I work in immigration myself, business immigration. Is that not the one you were talking about?
No. She said, if you're going to say some language is illegal, burning a flag should be illegal. I disagree.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Because like the language is inherent to the communication of your whatever system you're in, whether it's a family or whatever. The other one's like an expression one. Now, I don't know if I don't think you should make any language illegal, but you should make English the official language. It doesn't you don't have to ban the other ones, but I disagree because a flag is not inherent to like your communication of your like all your logistics, all kinds of stuff, you know.
Sparta says we should start our own two parties, a leftist party called the LGBTQ party and a right-wing party called the Eagle Claw. This is how you win.
Based.
I like that. I mean, I think we are getting to a point, and you talked about this with Fritz earlier. I listened to it. I don't think you had asked him if he thought that the Libertarian Party could rise up and be the viable third party. I don't think that's the case. I think we're going to devolve into a point where it's going to be a Libertarian Party and then an authoritarian party.
Yeah.
I think we're going to go back to the two-party system, but I think Libertarian is going to be one of them. Easily.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Let's see. Harvey says, these are things that we're told are right. That was the point I was making. And if one is legal, the other should be too.
Oh, I see.
Freedom of speech, yet leftists want to make some language arrestable.
Yeah, that's retarded.
Yet want to burn flags.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying one is clearly more practical for your civilization. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm saying.
Unsatiable has a question here, just at the squeaking in at the last minute here before we go hit pop culture. Are you pro-life or pro-choice? I know your answer.
Yeah, pro-life.
I am pro-life on principle, but I don't want the government involved because the government sucks at everything.
Yeah, I mean they're good. They're good at killing, man.
Yeah, they are. They very much are.
They're good at killing. So like I don't want them in the business of performing abortions, but it's like I don't know. I'm pro-life, so I say that from okay. It's a great kind of comparison. It's almost like the Black Lives Matter thing too. Like I think Black Lives Matter. I think they do matter regardless of what I say. I think Black Lives Matter is one of the worst organizations in the world. Mm-hmm. But so I'm pro-life in terms of the cultural and the moral and all that stuff. But the policy thing, I am pro-life in terms of abortion should be fucking illegal. Mm-hmm. But also it's like I also just don't. I just want out.
Yeah.
Of the society that is like into abortion. So, but does that mean I'm gonna like get the tanks together and go like kill everyone? I don't know. It's complicated because it's just like I don't want to do that either. So that's why I'm like on most shit I'm just like pro-secession. Like if you are anti me leaving, I don't care whether you're pro-choice or pro-life. If you're anti like freedom, then like my ability to like start a place that is pro-life, then we got bigger issues than abortion. Like that is some straight up terrorism, kidnapping shit. So of course I'm pro-life to me, but it's also like I just don't feel like associating with those people, man. And like even telling them what to do, like go, go sacrifice babies where you want. I guess I don't know. Like we have to cross that bridge when we get to it, But that's so yes, I'm pro-life, but it's disgusting. Like we're trying to all like tell each other what to do on the subject of killing babies. It's gross.
All right. Let's go ahead and get on with this here. First off, I just wanted to point out that NASCAR has released the picture of the news. And there it is.
You are fake news. This is just fake news.
I just want to say, and we're going to quick hit through this one and the next one here because I want to get to this quick video I put together here. But on this one, for sure, I mean, this is, you expect me to believe that the first time that we're going to see this was when NASCAR released this. And when everybody has a portable camera in their fucking pocket, everywhere they go. That was staged, and I don't believe any of that bullshit. What do you think?
I don't believe a single thing they're saying about all this shit. Like, This is bullshit. This is Bubba Smollett, yo. Yeah. Dude, these pictures, they should be ashamed of themselves for doing that march where they push the car and he's crying on the car. Like, dude, this whole thing is bullshit. It's just, I agree. I actually, I'm glad that you do. You think it's bullshit because you're a little more mainstream, like not as conspiracy minded. But this is a complete bullshit. And NASCAR is like supposed to be a right wing organization. They are converged. They are compromised. Yeah, NASCAR's done. It's about to be ASCAR. It's about to just two homos like riding each other down the racetrack scene with like down a purple yellow brick road. Bad visual. I'm sorry.
And then the other quick hitter I wanted to get to is that the Dixie Chicks have become a 90s punk band. The Chicks.
Yeah, trying to be relevant again, I guess. But they've been woke for a while. It's just Lady Antebellum did that too. They changed it to Lady A. Yeah. I don't know if you saw. Yeah,
I saw that one. We talked about that last week, but I mean,
Woker's gonna woke.
if you're gonna change your name like that, make your name sound like a country band at least.
Yeah, yeah, it's really bad.
Because yeah, that does sound like the Smiths or something, like something out of the '90s, out of pop punk or whatever the shit.
Yeah, their music's terrible.
But I wanted to get your take on this video. And I know you've seen it already, but I put together a short compilation of what was going on with this here. So the Jenna Marbles thing, and I went off on this yesterday or Saturday rather. I went
you know
off
a lot
on
about
this.
her, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
she is a big part of the reason that I actually started having an internet presence because of her. What guys do and what girls do during dating thing. That was what inspired me to start writing my blog, which turned into a political blog, which turned into my solo videos, which turned into what you're seeing today. But just, I was so disappointed with this, but I wanted to share just some of the worst points of this here. So let me get this up and playing. Come on. There you go.
All right, so I get it. Feel like we're at a time where we are purging ourselves of anything and everything toxic. And I'm being requested that I address things that I've done in my past. I also get a lot of tweets from people that are saying like, "We love you, you unproblematic queen." Yeah, there's things in my past I'm not proud of. And I'm getting a lot of tweets from people saying, "Why have you privated all these old videos?" And I've spent a lot of the last few days privating almost all of my old content. And I'm sorry if any of that holds any nostalgia for you, but I'm literally not trying to put out negative things into the world. People that were offended that I did blackface as Nicki Minaj in 2011, and I'll show you the clip. It's incredibly cringy and embarrassing. This is private. It has been private for quite some time, but it looks like this.
Nicki Minaj likes me, and then there's Roman, who's very.
This video is called Bounce That Dick. This has also been made private. I don't want to offend anyone. I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in making anyone feel bad, in case you haven't noticed. Here's the clip. I will play it for you. Here, hold on, let me remind you.
Sorry, that was racist. I'm bad at rap songs.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stop for now or forever. I don't know. I would probably take this video down because it's embarrassing and just let whatever just live and just be. That's it. I want to say thank you for your support. For those of you that care about me and have been watching me for a long time, I appreciate it. I want to hold myself accountable, and it's painful to do it, and it's not fun, and it hurts, and I'm ashamed of things I've done and said in my past, but it's important. And yeah, I hope this felt like something that you needed to hear from me, and I'm not sure that I want to continue doing stuff on this channel, and I don't want to put anything out in the world that's gonna hurt anybody. So I need to be done with this channel for now or for forever. I don't know. So, all right. Good talk. See you guys.
That is the video. And just, like I said, I was inspired to do this by somebody who didn't give a fuck what anybody else thought. And would just tell it how it was. And now I look and I see this shit. And that was like a punch in the gut to me when I saw that video. Because it says, okay, everything that inspired you, is that a lie now?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, do you want to go first? You want to keep going, or you want me to give my thoughts?
Go ahead. I gave mine yesterday.
I mean, okay, so first of all, I put out a tweet today that had nothing to do with this, but okay, so these these YouTube creators from like the years 2012 to like 2016, 17, they're propped up. I mean, these people are pushed to the forefront. I mean, the original OG, like 2006, 2010, I don't think was, but at a certain point, YouTube started fucking with everything and propping people up. I put out this tweet today that says, don't forget that big power loves pushing broken people to the forefront of industries for obvious reasons. And that is a broken person right there. I don't know if that's a person that was broken by YouTube or was broken before, but that girl has no idea what she's saying. She's so she's like, I think I'm quitting like for now or forever. And I'm just like not sure that I feel that I want to maybe do this one day and then bye. I hope this is something that you felt like you needed to hear from me, but I'm making it private later. Like, what are you even fucking talking about? And so it's like, so first of all, I have another rule too. I have a rule here. If I will always like someone more after I find out they did blackface, unless they apologize, and then I like them way less.
Yeah.
And I was just like thinking about that when I watched that the other day, and it's like, how is not offending people so high on your priority list? If you have 1 million watchers, you are going to offend so many of them. If you have an honest bone in your body, you know, if you're speaking from the heart at all, or like taking a stance on anything, you can offend some people. So she's just like, I never wanted to offend. I don't want to offend people. Then why are you in comedy or in entertainment?
Yeah, and this is a woman too that dressed up as Sarah Palin and cooked with her top off, because that's what Sarah Palin would do.
What a broken person. I mean,
Yeah.
like, I was just like, you clearly have like major emotional issues. Like, if it's embarrassing, then why did you make it? You're gonna put it on private. Like, the whole thing is just like, it's like everything starts with I just feel that you maybe like feel that you maybe feel that you feel that. It's like, I don't know, man. I just, you know, that is like a broken person. And like, there's all these other ones coming out of like Shane Dawson. All these people are broken degenerates, yo.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're just all broken degenerates, and they just were used up by this YouTube thing or whatever. I mean, I hope it doesn't happen. I don't think it's gonna happen to me because I hate YouTube. They could suck a dick. You know, I'm just gonna keep breaking their rules until something happens.
John's got the last question here, and it's on the topic here, and then we got to go through the outro here because we got to get you out of here. But
Cool.
John says, I heard a YouTuber say he thinks Jenna Marbles made that video because she has a TV show deal coming up. Do you think that's possible?
Anything's possible. Yeah, I mean, maybe, but she ain't gonna do shit. She ain't like photogenic. She ain't gonna do a TV show. You know, these people, like the people that don't live stream. I don't know if she streams, but video editing is very, very controlled. I mean, I don't think these people are like good improvisers. You know, it seems very controlled and manufactured, and TV's even more so. So I don't know. TV's dead anyway.
Hey,
you know,
go easy. I did video editing for a long time.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean that it can't be a good thing. But it's just like what I learned, I've barely recorded. I've played mostly live my whole life. I've recorded like 10 albums or something like that, and if you spend all your time in the studio, you don't get good at stretching out and improvising. And so if you get good at both, you're the shit. But that's not a good improviser that we just saw.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to ask you the last question that I have for you here, and then I'm going to hit the D-Live chest while you're doing that here. So all you D-Live fuckers, get ready to scramble. But the last question I have for you, and some you've answered a couple of times here before, tell me about a hobby that you have that has nothing to do with work or politics. It could be an album that you picked up, an album that you made and embarrassed yourself in a Florida cafe over, or just something that helps you unwind at the end of the day. And I want to hit that D-Live chest.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll tell that story real fast. We were in Florida together, and you know, they were like, "Name one thing you did during the coronavirus lockdown." When we were at this restaurant, this like, I don't know, burrito place. I don't remember what it was. And I was like, I made a rap album. I was like, yeah, I'm a rapper. It's kind of cringe. And then when they brought out the food, they were like, Steven with the rap album. But yeah, I mean, dude, that's work though. I mean, what I'm trying to do is get a farm and start to homestead eventually. I mean, I've dabbled I've been learning about stand-up comedy and reading a lot. But really I want to just get into homesteading soon. I'm trying to get out of DC before the zombies come, if you know what I mean. So that's about it. But I mean, like, I've said it on the show before when this question has come up, that the work and the play is very blurred with me, because I want to do streaming, but it's fun. I want to do music, but it's fun. And I teach music, but it's fun, you know? So it's kind of, but you know, anytime I'm trying to do something new, it's a hobby, you know? So reading, comedy, but definitely homesteading. I recommend it for you guys as well.
Well, that's what we're going to have for the day. And this is this is the last time we're going to do Ed's World. So thanks everybody who came out and chatted one more time. I said my final goodbye to you earlier today. Thank you, Steven, for helping me welcome out of this here.
Thank you, Jag. This is a great show, man. I'm honored to be on the last episode. How many times did I do it? Was it four times?
Yes, you did 4.
Cool. Wow, man. End of an era, dude.
Yeah. And like I said, I welcome everybody to come back and check us out at the same time, 5:30 Central Time, as we start the Red and Ed show. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some great chemistry on air. We've already been on air together, so I'm pretty excited to see where this goes. So we've got some cool segments coming up too, like the government overreach of the week is going to be something we do quite regularly. So there's going to be a lot of good stuff here. But if you're just catching up now, you want to catch the rest of the show, we'll be on demand over on YouTube and over on BitChute.com. Or you can check us on the audio platforms, iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And remember, if you're over on iTunes, leave that 5-star rating and a good review. That helps us move up the charts. Lastly, you can check out my guest, or myself, or The Generational Gap, or Wyatt Birkenhoff, or The Already Conservative, or even Freckles and Britt over on the Freedom Scoop Media Group. And we're working hard to improve that every day. We work harder and harder. So come and check us out over there and buy up some of our swag. Lastly, as we always said on this show, and we're saying for the last time, never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. Steve, give us the last word.
Well, thanks for coming, everybody in the live chat, and everyone checking it out after the fact. Please check me out on 9 a.m. Eastern Time every weekday with the Daily Ignoramus, politically incorrect news and philosophy and humor and things like that. It's a fun time. So see you at 9 a.m. on the weekdays. Peace out.
Take care.